Reversing diabetes with a plant-based diet. Are you suffering from diabetes and do not know which plant-based diet you should follow? If yes, then this video is for you. Hi friends, I am Pratilan and you're watching Nutro Plus. Today we will discuss the plant-based diet to help you control your diabetes. Not only that, but also by adding plants to your diet boosts your immune system and nourishes you. Before we proceed, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more amazing content. What causes insulin resistance, or what causes diabetes in terms of what we eat? Insulin resistance often links to poor dietary choices, results from consuming excessive refined sugars, carbohydrates, and unhealthy fats. High-calorie diets and processed foods can lead to chronic inflammation, undermining the body's ability to respond effectively to insulin and contributing to insulin resistance. Let's take a look at how muscles store glucose. Glucose is stored in muscle cells in the form of glycogen through a process called glycogenesis. Glycogen is a large branched chain of glucose molecules that is a readily accessible energy source for muscle cells during increased activity or when blood glucose levels are low. Let's see step by step how glucose is stored as glycogen in muscle cells. Uptake of glucose. Glucose is transported into the blood cells from the bloodstream with the help of glucose transporters, GLUTs. Specifically, GLUT4. In the case of muscle cells, GLUT4 is insulin dependent, which means it requires the presence of insulin to facilitate glucose uptake. Conversion to glucose 6-phosphate. Once inside the muscle cell, glucose is rapidly converted to glucose 6-phosphate by the enzyme hexokinase. This conversion is essential to trap glucose inside the cell as glucose 6-phosphate cannot easily cross the cell membrane. Formation of glycogen. Glucose 6-phosphate is further converted into its storage form, glycogen, through a process called glycogenesis. This process involves the enzyme glycogen synthase, which catalyzes the linkage of glucose molecules together, forming long chains of glycogen. Branching of glycogen. Glycogen synthesis introduces branches for quick access to glucose when energy demand increases. Glycogenolysis breaks down glycogen to glucose 1-phosphate using glycogen phosphorylase. This glucose 1-phosphate converts to glucose 6-phosphate for energy production through glycolysis. Muscles store significant glycogen, but their capacity is limited compared to adipose tissues' fat storage. Thus, glycogen is a local energy source while excess glucose is converted to fat for long-term energy reserves in adipose tissue. 2 ways of treating diabetes. Treating diabetes requires a comprehensive approach that involves lifestyle modifications, medication management, and regular medical supervision. Here are some essential steps to effectively manage diabetes. Regular exercise. Engage in regular physical activity to improve insulin sensitivity and aid in weight management. Activities like walking, swimming, or cycling can be beneficial, but it's essential to consult a healthcare professional before starting any exercise program. Medication. Follow your doctor's prescribed medication regimen diligently. For type 1 diabetes, insulin therapy is essential, while type 2 diabetes may require oral medications or insulin injections, depending on individual needs. Blood sugar monitoring. Regularly monitor blood sugar levels as advised by your healthcare provider. This information helps in adjusting medication doses, understanding patterns, and avoiding dangerous fluctuations. Stress management. Chronic stress can affect blood sugar levels. Employing stress reduction techniques such as meditation, deep breathing exercises, or engaging in hobbies. Second method. The second approach to treating diabetes, as recommended by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, is a more plant-based eating lifestyle, which means we are focusing on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and beans. As you can imagine, These foods tend to be very low in fat. By following a more plant-based diet, we can unclog the muscle cell and repair the underlying mechanism. So, the difference is a low-carb eating style can control the symptoms of diabetes, but we are not actually addressing the underlying insulin resistance the way we are, say, more plant-based eating style. Plant-based diet. So what exactly is a plant-based diet? So the full term is a whole foods plant-based diet. Whole foods means single ingredient foods, unprocessed or minimally processed, as they exist in nature. Plant-based in its broadest sense means we consume at least 95% of our calories from fruits, vegetables, whole grains and beans. So what's the deal with carbohydrates, right? When we talk about plant-based diets, people are told, okay, we are going to cut out more of the meat and the cheese and the high-fat foods, focus more on plants. People are still pretty hesitant with carbohydrates. So let's look at carbohydrates. They are not all good or bad. It depends on the type. So on one end, we have our unprocessed or minimally processed carbohydrates. Our sweet potatoes, they are like the logs on the fire. They are loaded with fiber and water and allow a nice slow release of energy. On the other end of the spectrum, we have our highly processed carbohydrates. This is our frosted flakes. These carbohydrates are digested quickly. They are void of fiber. A lot of times the water is removed, so we lost a lot of nutrition and we get a big spike in energy. What does the process really mean? It is any means by which food is broken down or prepared. So typically, we add salt, sugar, and fat, making the food more addictive, more caloric, and more delicious. At the same time, we are reducing fiber and water, making the food less filling and thus easier to overeat. Plain old corn is an unprocessed food. It is a whole plant-based food, highly processed. Frosted flakes and potato chips are the foods we want to avoid. Same idea with potatoes. Plain corn and potatoes have nothing in common. They are just highly refined white foods like bread. So the potato is actually a great choice. It's going to be very low in fat to help you unclog those muscle cells, and the calories are fairly dilute due to its fiber and water content. But potatoes are a problem because of what people put on them or what they make the potato into, like the potato chips. Same idea with unfrosted wheat, shredded cereal. Of course, it is going to be our least processed option. As we process, we get things like great grain cereal or crackers, cookies, etc. that are not going to be great options. The same is the case with rice. Brown rice is best with oatmeal. The best option are steel-cut oats or something like old-fashioned oats. These are going to be minimally processed. We want to avoid instant oats and refined oatmeal snacks. So what should we eat? A lot of people think a plant-based diet means a vegetable-based diet and then they are set up for failure. But that's not the case. A plant-based diet can be beneficial for managing and even potentially reversing type 2 diabetes. It focuses on consuming whole, unprocessed plant foods while limiting or avoiding animal products and highly processed foods. Such a diet can help improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and promote better overall health. Here are some plant-based foods to include in your diet to help manage or reverse diabetes. So this is what it looks like. You can add lentil, tacos, whole grains, legumes, African peanut stew, black bean, tortilla soup, vegetable fajitas, fruits, spinach and mushroom grits, vegetable tamales, grain balls, and loaded sweet potatoes into your diet. Let's explore each and every food. Lentil tacos. It is protein-packed, flavorful, and satisfying, a perfect blend of health and taste for your vegan journey. Whole grains. Whole grains like brown rice, oats, barley, and whole wheat provide complex carbohydrates, fiber, and nutrients. They are good for diabetic patients. Legumes. Beans, lentils, and peas are rich in protein, fiber, and essential minerals. African peanut stew, a rich and creamy vegan dish with a harmonious fusion of flavors, featuring peanuts, vegetables, and spices. Black bean tortilla soup, a hearty and zesty Mexican-inspired delight combining black beans, veggies, and tortilla strips for a satisfying, flavorful meal with a touch of crunch. Vegetable fajitas, a colorful and wholesome Tex-Mex treat sizzling with peppers, onions, and a medley of veggies. Bursting with flavor, a delightful and nutritious option for any plant-based feast. Fruits, berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, apples, oranges, and pears are good options as they have a lower glycemic index compared to other fruits. Spinach and mushroom grits, a delectable blend of creamy grits, sauteed mushrooms, and nutrient-rich spinach, creating a comforting and savory dish with a delightful earthy taste, perfect for a cozy meal. A tasty Mexican treat filled with a mix of vegetables wrapped in corn dough steamed to perfection, a flavorful and satisfying option for plant-based eaters. A lot of people overestimate how hard it will be to switch to a plant-based diet, but once you get going, it is quite easy to continue. That's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informational. Stay tuned to Nutro Plus to follow a healthy lifestyle. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.